What's our ETA to touchdown?
10 minutes. Can you hold it?
I think I can. It's just like I feel it getting progressively tighter, which is weird.
All right, listen, Mikey, just hold on, man. I'll get you there. I just got to do something, right? So I'll get you there. Just
Roger.
Bear with me.
Welcome to MojoGrip. Mike here. So the clip you just saw was this guy getting really bad motion sickness. Oftentimes I get the opportunity to fly different aircraft. That's the best part of doing this job of MojoGrip. And sometime last year I was invited to fly an L-39. If you're not familiar with this aircraft, an L-39 was built as a trainer for the military. So this is essentially a fighter jet. Not the quickest one, but it has some amazing aerobatic capabilities. And you can see also, like on the wings, very short wings, so it can go fast and it can turn by the switch of a finger. Right now an L-39 is more of a collector airplane, at least in the United States, but some parts of the world, believe it or not, they're still using these planes for combat, light combat, and they're still using them to train military pilots. So I had the opportunity to fly in one, and as you can imagine, I was super excited. So on the day of, it was a beautiful day. We did our safety briefing, you know, what to expect. We had our flight plan, and the original plan was to go, we were supposed to make a stop at 3 different airports. Anyway, we get going, and I would say the first 4 to 6 minutes of the flight was absolutely amazing. Now, guys, I've been a pilot for over 3 years, and I've never once actually flown or been flown in an aerobatic airplane. Most of my experience are in a standard tricycle gear. So this was new for me. This was the very first time that I would fly in an aerobatic plane, and talk less of a fighter jet, equivalent to a fighter jet. And so the excitement was there. I was a little bit nervous, I would not lie about that. And so we went up, and I remember the first shock to my body really was shortly after takeoff. You do this really steep bank to the right, and I was not expecting that, but it was fun nonetheless. And so we got off the ground pretty good. We went up to about 10 or 12,000 feet. And so when we got up there, Raf let me know, okay, we're gonna practice some steep turns, and then we'll do some aileron rolls. And guys, I remember just bracing myself for what was to come, and shockingly, it was not what I thought. So initially, before we got into the first aileron roll, I thought, man, this is gonna be freaky. I'm gonna have, you know, so much G's on me. And believe it or not, during the roll itself, barely felt any G's. It was just fun. It felt good. So I just asked him to do another one and do another one. Long story short, we did a few of these, and life was good. And at some point I even got to control the airplane for a little bit. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, my headset, so in these type of aircraft you have to wear a helmet, and the headset is attached to the helmet. But forgot I have long hair, and so the helmet that I had on didn't fit me properly, so it was really hard for me to hear what the pilot in command was saying. So my time trying to control the aircraft was pretty short, to say the least. Anyway, so after we did the maneuvers, then we were heading over to our first stop. And this is where I started to get the weirdest feeling in my body. So on the way to the first stop, and we really were just gonna do like a touch and go, but closer to landing, I started to feel, it was more like nausea. So it's like you get a pukey feeling, and this is a feeling that I'm familiar with before. If you've ever gotten airsick, you know what I mean. And believe it or not, a lot of pilots, their first flight or demo flight, they may get airsick. So I've been through this. I know what this feeling feels like. And in the past, when I've experienced something like that, it was probably during my flight training, and it was because I hadn't eaten. I would not eat, and I would go up and try to fly for 2 hours, and boom, I would just crash, my body that is.
Clear traffic, close out 60, setting up for the overhead runway 6, and then it's going to be departing over the town at 1,000 feet, close out 62.
I feel my stomach tightening up. Is that normal?
Yeah, that does. You know what I'm going to do? I'll take you there, then we'll head back home for this route.
Okay.
I'm going to take you there, and then we'll...
I've gotten a little air sick from the...
Oh, how are you feeling? Are you okay?
I'm good.
All right,
I probably need to burp or something, but I'm good.
Just relax.
Okay.
So I knew what the feeling was, and I thought to myself, you know what? You can handle this. Just breathe. Control your breathing. And then shortly after that, the weirdest thing started to happen. Like right around my feet, I started to get this like tingly feeling. Okay, it's the feeling is kind of like if your body goes numb, the feeling starts to get progressively worse. So now I have this same numb feeling. It starts to travel up my body. So it went from my feet and then to my legs, and now I'm panicking and I'm starting to freak out a little bit. I'm still back there just trying to be calm about the situation, but I let Ralph know, like, hey, I don't think we're gonna be able to make it to the other stops. Poor guy. We had this amazing flight plan and he wanted to show me around, and I basically ruined the flight because I got sick. So I let him know, like, hey, this is what's going on back here. If you don't mind, let's just, wherever the next stop is, let's go there and let's stop and get off this airplane. But ultimately, he just turned around and we were just heading back to the home airport. And on the way back, again, the feeling starts to travel more and more upwards my body. And the reason why I started to panic a little bit was because I had no idea what was going on. At first, you feel like, okay, the nausea feeling, I've experienced that before, and also the feeling of your body going numb, maybe a part of your body going numb. You kind of have some experience with that, at least I did. So I'm like, okay, this is cool. But then it wasn't just that. It wasn't just my body going numb. It was feeling sick up here and then not feeling like I can move parts of my body. So it got really bad to the point where at one point I could not feel my legs. I literally could not feel my legs. And then the feeling traveled more upward towards my body, where I think my sitting was kind of like this. And I remember at one point just going like that to see if there was like blood flowing in my arms and in my hands. And long story short, it was a bad feeling. And I wanted to puke. I wanted to take a crap. I wanted to do so many things at the same time. It's kind of like a pregnant woman. But we made it back home. We touched down at the home airport and they helped me get off the airplane. And we went to lunch after that. Now, here's the thing. Once I got off the plane, I tried to just like walk around and kind of like stretch my body and see, okay, maybe if that would help. But I would say once I got off the plane, it's like my brain calmed down a little bit and it wasn't like panic. So I sat down to eat lunch, and then I was asking Raph and I was like, okay, so what happened up there? Why? Because it was such a new sensation. It was such a new feeling to my body that I wanted to know what was going on. So this is essentially what happened. If you are fresh, like I was, if you've never been in an aerobatic plane before or done any aerobatic maneuvers, okay, there's some things that you probably should prepare your mind and your body for, which I didn't. So one thing, for example, is when you're new to this and you go through loops or whatever aerobatic maneuvers you do, understand that when your body is not used to something like that, and so it's gonna try to compensate for whatever the hell you were doing. And so when you go through, say for example, we did Aileron rolls. So we did some Aileron rolls, and at the time it felt really good. Like I didn't feel any G's pulling or pushing on me. It just felt really nice. And I asked him that we should do more and more. And so really what's happening at that point in moment is that your body has this just great rush of adrenaline flowing through your entire body, and that's why you have the excitement, you feel good. Now, once all of that is over, your body needs to bring itself back to a normal state, okay? And in the process of doing that, it needs to flush out all the adrenaline that pumped into your bloodstream. And so in that process of your body trying to put itself back to a normal state, that's when you start to feel all of that sickness. You can get motion sickness, you can get numb in places, you will feel tingly, weird, just all these different things can happen in this process. Now, to avoid something like this, or you can even talk to an aerobatic pilot about this, generally from what I understand is when you're doing aerobatic maneuvers, there's some breathing patterns that you need to go through. I didn't know that. So if you're an aerobatic pilot, for example, when you're going into maneuvers, you have your breathing pattern. You basically prepare your body to take whatever pressure or gravity pull or push that you're about to put on it, so your body can adjust. Now, if you don't know this and you're just new and somebody takes you up and just tosses you around, remember, your body is not used to this and you've just been tossed around, you're not breathing to prepare for the maneuver. That's when your body kind of goes all over the place, because it's also trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and it's trying to bring itself back to a normal state. And so that's through that process is when you get all these sick feeling, okay? And that day, that was the case for me. And here's the thing though, it's not gonna kill you, okay? When you get motion sickness, it's common, it's normal, and you're gonna be just fine. What generally happens is you either need to puke or you need to rush to the bathroom whenever you get off the airplane. But ultimately, even if you don't do any of that, once you settle, say you get off the plane, once you settle and walk around or just do normal stuff, your body should come back to its normal state. So don't freak out if this ever happens to you. But my advice to you is, if you're flying in an aerobatic plane for the very first time, it's probably best to talk to your pilot in command or the instructor to take you through whatever breathing pattern is necessary to help your body remain stable during those maneuvers. So that is the story of how I got sick during this flight review. Now, I did have a blast, and I remember shortly after we landed and I had something to eat, I was ready to go up again. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and please give a thumbs up. Also, if this is your first time, make sure to subscribe, and please subscribe with the notification bell on. Also, guys, if you would like to support the channel, you can support MojoGrip through the Patreon page. The link is below. And you can also become an MVP member on the website. It's mojogrip.net/MVP. If you like this style of video, let me know and I'll make more, because there's a lot that happens in the background of all of the flight videos and reviews that I do on the channel that I don't show on the channel. So if you like to see more of these, just let me know in the comments below. And guys, I will catch you on the next video. Peace.